Hi everyone, it's Denise Weneker. Well, here we are. It's time to start. We have Ray Rhani, who is the principal of Painttrack, who's going to be talking about amazing techniques in house painting and all sorts of great stuff. So just stay tuned. We're going to start in like a minute. Everybody's getting their drinks and their food and refills, and so just kind of sit down. Maybe you get a little cocktail or a cup of tea, and just sit back and relax. All right? Be back. Bye. Hi everyone. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out on this kind of chilly night, but you know, it's what else are you gonna do, right? As you know, I'm Denise Weneker, principal of DW Design and Decor, and we are an interior design and build firm. We specialize in whole house renovations and decoration, new construction, multi-room projects, and kitchen and bath design and build. We are welcoming our 5th speaker to this event, so I can't believe that we've been doing this for that long, and it's always on the 3rd Thursday of the month. And we're very excited to post it and take the video of it and put it on our blog. So if you miss any of them, you just go on the blog and you can see some of the past ones. So cool. Also, I'm going to ask you to please, if you haven't already, just follow us on Instagram and on TikTok and Facebook, and our handle is @Denise, at DW Design Decor. And we post several times a week, so you can stay on top of all of our projects, current and so forth as well. We're really building a lovely community here, and people are enjoying it, as you can see by the friendly faces that come and the new ones, and everybody's meeting each other. So if you can, if I don't have your email already, just please put it in the book so we can keep you guys informed. And also save the dates for our next speakers. So our next one is going to be March 21st, and we're going to have Linda, who's sitting here, and we're going to find out all about getting organized, and you'll find out more about that. So make sure to save that date, because we all need what she has to say. All right, now I want to introduce you to Ray Rhani, the founder of Painttrack Painting Services. They are an award-winning company that has received several national awards from the National Painting Contractors Association. It's awesome. This included the Best Exterior Painting Restoration Award in 2023 and the Humanitarian Award for their campaign during the pandemic. So please welcome me in joining Ray Rhani.
Thanks everyone for coming out tonight. Thanks Denise for having me. Just going to give you a little background. I'm going to tell you some stories. I'll tell you a little bit about craftsmanship, and then maybe I'll throw a joke or two. So feel free to stop me if you have any questions. But I guess I always knew that I'm going to be a painter ever since my doctor told me that I was autistic. So, but okay, so maybe not. So anyway, I started. I was introduced to crafts when I went to a vocational high school when I was 13, 14 years ago. It's almost 40 years. So I was an electrical major, but regardless of what major you were, whether you were electrical, machinery, or mechanical major, or auto mechanic major, you were given a chunk of steel and a set of file to make a hammer or some bolts or nuts with filing, no cutting, and not using any sort of power tools. It was really painstaking, standing on your feet for like 8 hours and filing a chunk of steel, and like at the end of the day, you would bring it to your instructor and they would put a micrometer on it and say, you just filed it like 1/10 of a millimeter too much. And so we did a few of those projects, and my final project was an anvil, which I still hold on after all these years. It has so much details in it, like I can't tell you how hard it was to make this. It was 3 months project, 2 days a week, 8 hours a day, for a 14 years old who has barely any muscles to just file this thing from a chunk of steel that was this big The only place we could use a machine tool was to drill these holes and 2 holes on the side, which was done with the instructor's presence. So fast forward, I came to US, I went to college, I studied computer science, and I started working down in the city as a programmer for a few years while I was doing some painting, and that's how I supported my undergraduate. And then I started working in the city, and I was going to graduate school at the time, and September 11 hits. And I lost my job, and I started looking for another computer work, and because of the dot-com burst, there was no work, and I started calling some of my old customers in a few months, and one thing led to another, and I got busy that summer, hired 2 helpers, and I started painting, and I was like, I don't think I want to go back to that cubicle again. But how did I get into painting? When I came here, my brother wanted to paint his house, and he's like, have you ever done any painting? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, here's a brush, and here's a roller, and let's do this. So he says, why don't you cut in the lines, and I'm gonna roll. I said, okay. So I started cutting the lines, and he goes, wow, you've done this before. You have a very steady hand. And I was like, no, I haven't. So then, 10, 12 years later, when I went back home, my mom had kept my high school closet untouched. So I went into the closet, I started digging all my stuff from high school, and I came across the envelope. Then it suddenly hit me. I was like, you know what? I was trained to be accurate, to be patient, and I learned how to work with my hands, so I could just transfer that to whatever else that I would be doing. And that's how I became a painter. I don't regret it. It's been a great ride. So that's the backstory of painting. But then I was never hired by a painter. I never got formal training by a painter, so I had to figure things on my own. At that time, there was really no YouTube to go and search how to, paint such and such. So it was a lot of trial and error. But then I soon found a painting association, and I was able to network with other painters from across the country and exchange information and ask questions. I could just pick up the phone and ask about products or whatever. And I became very interested about the science behind painting, about the preparation, not just putting a coat of paint on the surface. Are you guys bored yet?
No. Very interesting.
We're waiting to see the final product from all this project.
So, how do painters keep warm in winter?
Layers.
They just put another coat on.
That's a good one.
So,
That's clever.
I'm going to talk about mostly pre-finishing kitchen cabinets. As you know, most of the cabinets since the 80s and 90s were all wood finishes, oak, maple, cherry, stained and lacquered finishes. And some of those, they have a really good finish, but nowadays people are looking for more of a modern look. Everybody's looking to paint their cabinets and get rid of those old looking maples and oak. So there are some advantages to those stained cabinets. One is that you can see the beautiful wood grains, right? So that's one advantage. The other thing is, like, when it gets banged up, it's easy to hide it. Like it's not so noticeable. Whereas with solid colors, if you chip the cabinet, you're gonna see. Now, then, so we're talking about traditional versus modern. Modern, everybody wants it painted, but also the fact that with painted cabinets, you can touch it up. You can touch it up, and it's easier to touch up a painted cabinet versus stained cabinet, which requires some more work, as you know. But also, painted cabinets have a much harder finish than stained cabinet. There are some cabinets that are shop finished. The issue with those is because in the shop they use traditional lacquer, which is an oil base. It tends to yellow over time. So you could have a white cabinet, and in a few years it turns yellow, and it just gets yellower over time. And that's one of the disadvantages of traditional lacquers. And the reason that most cabinet shops use those is because it's very forgiving and it's easy to use. And in their shop environment, they're cutting wood, they're just like, the in the middle of a bunch of things. They want something that is easy to work with, so they can keep the paint or the lacquer in their spray gun and just shoot a coat, go cut some wood, come back in 2 hours, shoot another coat, or just leave it in there for the next day to come back and reapply another coat. So, whereas with these new products, which are much harder, you really need to clean your machine as soon as you're done. Some of them, because they're two component products, and that's what gives them that hard finish. You have about an hour and a half or 2 hours when you mix part A and part B to use this paint before it starts really solidifying. So we mix this stuff in very small batches and run it through the machine, so you always have fresh paint going through the machine. So, but with painted surfaces also, it's much easier to clean. You could just wipe it down with rag and a little bit of soap. And I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures of kitchen cabinets that we've done in the past, and I'll try to just talk over some of these pictures. So I'll tell you a little bit about the process. If we're doing the kitchen cabinets, I think the hardest part of that is for a homeowner to empty all their cabinets before they go. So that's the hardest part. And we come in and we spend at least a day and a half scrubbing all these cabinets with a TSP solution to get all the oil and grease off of them. It has to be really squeaky clean before we can apply any paint on it. Once that's done, then we start taking the hardware off, taking all the hinges and knobs and everything, and we sand them with like a 280, 320 sandpaper. Yes?
Sorry, what is that TSP solution?
Triphosphate, no, TSP.
So it's something you
It's a
buy?
degreaser. It's a degreaser. It's a degreaser that really melts all the oil and grease from years of cooking on those cabinets.
So in this instance, obviously your appliances are there. This is a revised thing. I mean, typically if you're part of a build, you go in before appliances go in, right? I mean, or do you not? I mean,
No, we are talking about refinishing. These
so
are
it's always
cabinets that
refinished,
are,
so
yeah.
they've already been there.
These are cabinets that are usually like between 10, 15, 20, sometimes even 30 years old cabinets that we have refinished. So they're already refinished. I mean, they're already finished, and we're going in there because either people don't like the stained cabinets, or the color has faded, or has yellowed, or it's chipped, and they want a fresh color paint. So after we do the cleaning and sanding and deglossing, then we start masking all the interior of the cabinets, because most cabinets, the interior are all clear coated, and that doesn't need to be painted unless you have glass door cabinets which inside and outside gets painted. So as you can see here, we'll mask everything up. We mask the doors and refrigerator and appliances and all that. Many people try to hand paint the side panels, the frames, the edges and all that, but for consistency we prefer to just spray everything. And if we can, and if there is space, we rather do the whole thing on site, because we are already masking the whole kitchen. We are doing the boxes and the frames there, and with our paint being so sensitive and dry so quick, we want to do a coat there and then go do the back of the doors and then go back and forth between multiple coats that we apply. We have these drying racks that we stack up the cabinets, cabinet doors, and the drawer fronts would come off, so both sides of the drawer fronts as well gets painted. The paint we use, it's all water-based. It's an Italian lacquer, waterborne lacquer, that really, it's very environmentally friendly. You don't have to worry about odor and smell while we do this spray work in there. Even though it's very safe, we still set up some air scrubbers, some fans to draw some of the overspray out. And we use very fine tips, so there is not a whole lot of overspray. It's really like we can lay a 2-inch fan out of those spray guns and get really small pieces of trim painted as well. This is an example of a garbage cabinet. As you can see, 30 years of garbage and buildup. It's really gross. But this is that cabinet after it was refinished. This is another example of like traditional lacquer that kind of yellows over time, and you could see on the right side after we finished it with an off-white color. This is some island. You can see the finish. I have some samples here, which I'll be happy to show you if you want to set some of these around. I'm going to pass this around, fill the front of it and the back of it, and see if you can feel the difference. Sure. Let's do. This is another one of those. This is a Brookhaven cabinet. This is what it was. After cleaning, sanding, priming, this is the finish you get with it.
How are you sanding? What kind of sanding are you doing?
So-
How much is pan, how much is comp, what are you using?
We use all the flat parts are getting sanded with a sanding pad. It's a brushless sanding pad, and we have invested about, I don't know, $30,000 in these German dust extractors and sanders that, festival sanders, if you've heard of them. They literally draw at least 80%, 90% of the dust into the dust extraction system. So there's not a whole lot of dust to worry about. I'm just going to talk about this a little bit. This is an oak. It's a beautiful grain oak, but it covers perfectly, but you can still see those grains. The grains don't get filled, like we could fill them if we have to get rid of it, but by then it just takes so much more time that it's better off just like replacing the doors.
If you have beautiful oak and somebody's painted them, and you're like, gee whiz, you know, that's beautiful oak, can you go the other way? Or-
No,
No.
unfortunately,
So once
again,
you paint it, that's it.
once you paint it, it's
over?
gone. Yeah,
It's
so
over.
the only way, it's like sanding.
So people
that
Because
paint.
you would.
So you'd have to
It
sand
is
it up.
really, really hard
Original.
to get back to base.
Sandblasted.
Yeah, you can sandblast it, yeah.
Well, chemical scrape, I mean, I've refinished
Yeah.
stuff
Oh.
and scraped it, but I'm
Not
just,
this catalyst thing.
not that, you can't
No.
do that.
It's very hard. It's like,
It's a
So even
chemical
those
reaction.
chemicals, you could scrape it off.
no.
Because
No,
they're
it seems
sand-
like, why would you have a nice, beautiful oak, why would you do that to beautiful?
Because they don't want it.
Some people don't want it, some people
You don't want
oak is
it.
30 years old and it's really beat up.
Like still having, yeah.
Okay, here's a question, then, let's say you have beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean, the
Yeah. It
lines.
has a little still.
It's
that
character.
gray, yeah.
No, it's
Okay.
just
You
all
re-
like.
it
Why would you have a
seems like-
traditional
I
home
agree
versus a
with
modern
you.
home?
Well, no, I
That's
understand
true.
modern,
They both
it
very
just
nice,
seems
but
that when you have
You know, you like this.
wood that's
Because it
beautiful,
shows
like,
it's like
you can
wood.
paint less
Sometimes
expensive
if
wood
it's just
and get the
paint,
same
like-
Yeah,
beautiful
but then you have
finish.
to, they already have the wood on the cabinet, it's
Yeah.
already there.
So, I mean, we have, they finished like beautiful chairs and it was like in perfect shape. This almost like, oh my God, I don't want to do this job.
Well, you always want to pull off the,
Hitting
pull
dog.
off, put on different gradient,
Do you wanna
because
try?
otherwise-
Oh, you saw that
it
one?
would almost be,
No, we
Did you
haven't
see this
seen
one?
ours.
thank you, more efficient to put, if they want, would it be more efficient
Did
to
everyone see this
put
one?
less expensive wood painted than maybe go through the sanding, the refinishing, the repainting of the beautiful cherry?
I think it would be cheaper to buy new doors.
To what?
To buy new doors.
To buy new doors at that
Yeah, I
point.
mean,
See, you can have modern and not destroy beautiful cherry, then you can resell the cherry.
did anybody notice any difference between the front and the back of these?
One's yellow, one's yellow, and
Right?
Is this?
So,
Yeah, one was definitely smoother.
alright, the sprayer wasn't set properly.
Ah.
Pressure, you see the difference?
Yeah.
It's the same paint, same process. It was just like, we set it up purposely with the lower pressure. And you get that tiny bit of orange peel in the back of it, right?
Wow. So the sanding was the same on both sides, that's.
Good thing the client wasn't rubbing the,
No, it was sanded, it's just the pressure on the sprayer.
hey, wait a minute.
Makes it feel like it was sanded black on the
Yes,
other
it does,
side.
right?
More or less.
I'll get it.
It's less of a pressure, so it's not really atomizing the paint as it's pushing it out, right?
Excuse me, we have a
Yes.
question here.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. All right, anyway. All right, I was just wondering, when you paint this, right, why has it got such a smooth feel? Is there something on
It
it?
feels like it,
Is there something in the paint that make
It's that two-component paint, because most
And it's
paints
sprayed.
dry, yeah, it's a spray, but also most paint dry by off-gassing. This also does off-gas to dry, but there is also a chemical reaction that happens between part A and part B that gives it such a finish.
It's almost like
This
an
is-
epoxy.
It almost like.
You're right.
that's what I thought.
She thought there was like epoxy in the paint.
Or
No.
It's just a
It's not.
chemical that
No.
acts like
Similar.
epoxy when you put those together.
Yeah, it's a
It's
chemical
basically
reaction.
an epoxy and it forks.
Yeah,
But I have another question.
yes,
wanna see that.
sure.
Did everyone see this one?
The paint doesn't dry, it's a catalyzed.
Did you see it?
reaction.
This is beautiful. That is magnificent.
It's chemistry, it's not drying.
They told me about this one. Isn't it cool? It's very soft.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back to that product that cleans all the grease off the cabinet. Is that a commercial?
No, hardware store. I mean, it's,
Is it deglazer or deglosser?
Trisodium phosphate.
Trisodium phosphate, yes, trisodium phosphate. Thank you. You were a chemistry, right? Chemistry.
Say it.
Sounds like a great
Chemistry.
Really? Okay. Trisodium phosphate.
It's basically a detergent.
Yes.
It's basically a detergent.
Spell check fixed it.
I can't find that.
So,
We get one.
selling wood is like this, you see the grains, right?
I'm gonna go and sit on there, so I'll go.
It's a light stain, and it has a clear coat on it. Paint cabinet is a solid color, it's either white or
Yes.
as long as as long as it's solid wood, you could paint. If it's done properly, sometimes also it could be just a over, if it's a veneer and separate, you can see from it.
I mean, it's
Yes, exactly. We could also replace the doors. If the part says as a frame, we can just get you beautiful doors like this and replace it. And replace it. Brand new cabinets. Yes.
Is Naples? So Naples tries to.
All right, guys, pay attention.
Okay. All right.
Please,
Thank you. Also,
why aren't there fat painters though?
Why are what?
Fat painters.
Fat painters?
They all ran to the paint store to get thinner.
to get to him. You know what? You stand up comic too.
I could do that. Don't pick the day. This is a cabinet, really high-end cabinet that a cabinet maker had made it, sprayed it, and it failed, as you can see in these corners here. And then they hired a painting contractor. They sanded some spots and they tried to redo it again. It fell again. So we did it the third time, and it's been 6 years. There hasn't been any issue with it.
Key there is prep.
Very nice.
So this is a farmhouse that they had all these dark cabinets. They wanted to, change it to glass cabinets.
It lightens up a room, it literally.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, not many people would want to do that. Everybody cares about that stain. But now, even in a farmhouse, people want a modern look. So,
Could you lighten up the wood without painting it?
I mean, I love it. I love
I just,
natural
yeah,
wood.
no, I'm annoying everybody.
I know. I love natural wood, but
You
it's
can
not.
bleach it, remember the bleach?
Well, the bleaching the wood, that's,
Not every.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the look of the white, I do, I just, look at all that.
I mean, this is one of those ugly stained cabinets. I mean, I didn't mind painting this.
I was gonna say the purple doesn't look
Yeah.
so
Save it,
It doesn't
yeah.
look that good.
Save
But
its
like this
life.
one was beautiful, and I don't know. they wanted it painted. Like you can't talk them out of it,
Yeah.
right?
Why would you want to talk them out of it?
Yeah, the paint.
You're not in the business of that.
So
That's Jason's job.
You got a lot of mouth?
we had about 3 years ago, over a period of like
It's a great look.
5-6 months, we had at least like four sets of cabinets that people came up with all these green colors, and we did a bunch of green
That's
cabinets,
nice.
and that was the only time. But it all happened within 3 or 4 months. This is another color.
Like,
And look at this beautiful.
that's gorgeous.
So
Can I ask you a
yes,
question? What is the trending color
No.
currently? Is there a trending color right now?
I would say something like not too stark and not too gray, creamy, like light cream, not yellow. There are many color experts here. Denise, Bianca, and
What's the next Pantone color of the year?
peach balls.
Look at you.
Wow.
Like I said, it's very
Coming back.
But also talking about color, you know, when you paint kitchen cabinets, you could add a little more color. It does not look so dark once the whole kitchen is painted. Like we've done with darker colors such as classic gray, which is a really gray color. But if you look at those cabinets and you just walk into the room, they look off-white. They don't look really gray, right?
Depends how the light hits it.
Yes.
The lighting too.
What's the price of doing a regular, like a 10 by 10 kitchen?
About like 30, 40K. No. Like a kitchen like this is about $7,000-8,000, I would say, roughly. Yeah, that's like an average.
Ray, when you get new cabinets, what do you recommend to just keep them polished and fresh looking?
Just don't bang them up.
Right.
Like, be careful. Like, many people are not really careful when they're throwing stuff into the garbage cabinet. They just pull it up, cans, and you know, you're pulling out your pots and pans that are really heavy. You hit the edge of the cabinet. If you dent it, you're gonna chip the paint. So there's really not much you could do. This is, it doesn't look like a before and after, but like if you see on the left side, these were white cabinets that had turned yellow over time. It's not so obvious, but we painted them a few years ago, and the color is still the same as the day we finished, because this is a water-based paint and it doesn't get wet. I'm going to try to run through some of these pictures quickly.
It's interesting that you say your paint chips. When you look at that finish on that white double one, it almost looks like the front you could not bang it with
Oh,
any-
you can.
It looks like
Oh, yeah,
so
you can.
sturdy.
Well, but it's not
True, it
harder
does.
than a piece of metal.
Yeah, it's
It
not.
does.
Definitely not. It's not steel. It's
It's not
still
harder than
paint.
stainless steel.
Yeah. And it's a very,
No, it's true.
you know, thin.
And if there's wood behind it, the wood is falling.
Right.
What is the drying time?
It dries in about 2 hours to touch, and then 4 or 5 hours to recoat.
Cure would be more, would be
Probably a day, 2. Again, this stuff cures a lot faster than oil lacquer. That would take weeks for it to dry and cure.
How many coats do you put on it?
It's usually a 3 coat,
Three.
a primer and 2 finish coats. But it depends on the weather. If it's too cold, we put another few coats.
I got you. And if it's warm, you take the coats off.
Then you can.
That's
Vanities.
Gorgeous.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
In most of the cases, they replace the hardware too.
They do, yeah. A lot of time, we see that the hardware is drilled in the wrong spots. Like people just drill it right here rather than
Right.
lining it up with this. So that's, if you're painting it, that's the time to fill those holes and re-drill the new holes.
Yeah, that's you don't want to wait till after.
Right.
So, white yellows, right? You said white
Yeah.
could turn yellow.
Not with this product.
No, with that.
Yeah.
What about these other colors? Do they fade something? No, they
this
stay.
color. This again, in like 4 years, you go back and you want to touch it up. If you touch it up and it blends in, unless it's dirty. Whereas with oil, lacquer oil, you could not do that. You would go back after a year or two and you touch something up, it just flashes because the rest of it has changed color.
How about UV? Is there any effect on UV?
No, not this stuff, no. Yeah, UV affects oil. So there are very, very many advantages to using this. This was a really nice kitchen.
Beautiful.
It's just, yeah, look at this beautiful wood.
Beautiful work.
Great photos, by the way.
Yes, excellent.
This is a high gloss finish. We do some high gloss finish, this is the only time we use oil. This is not perfect. It was done a couple of days ago, and the office is dusty. But look at the sheen on this.
Wow.
This is a 98% sheen, fine paints of Europe, and it's like real oil-based stuff. It's the hardest paint to use. You probably have heard that, Bianca, right?
Yeah.
So a ceiling like this in a family room took us about 140 something hours to just prep and paint that ceiling, multiple layers, yes.
What would be the purpose of doing that to?
So look at the reflection of this. Like if you have it in the dining room, we've done it in the dining room.
So the bounce light?
Yeah, I mean also like you have the table set, you're sitting there and the entire reflection of the table and
Yeah.
everything is on the ceiling.
So is it a dark coat of paint and then
The
that?
point is that you have a lot of money to spend.
So it's a white
These?
lacquer ceiling?
Yes, it does.
Colored.
Is
It
it
could be any color.
No, not on the table, this is on the ceiling. I'm saying the reflection of the table is on that ceiling.
Ray,
And
we
then-
have a question.
Yes.
So, yeah, what is the color of this? Is it just, is it
This
white
color,
reflective?
believe it or not, it's blue.
That's all.
I don't remember, it's a dark blue. I can find out if you want me to say. The ceiling is a dark blue, but it looks green because of this green Venetian plaster. So this is the Venetian plaster that we applied with trowel on that wall. If you look at this sample of that Venetian,
Oh, wow.
that's
So
that color.
you do,
It's this color that is affecting that ceiling.
So do you always, is the ceiling, when you're doing a reflective sort of mirrored ceiling, is it always that kind of blue, or do you sort of
You-
tone it?
Any color, I mean,
How do you know at the end, like, because it would affect how it reflects?
so we do some samples and all that, but like here, it's really weird because the wall color is really affecting that color on the ceiling. I mean, when you're there in the room, you see the blue,
Oh, you do?
you do see it, but it's not as blue as if it's by itself.
This is a,
Do you have a wider shot? Do you
Sorry?
have a wider shot?
No, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I think I have it somewhere else. This is,
what is the finish you put on the Venetian plaster?
the Venetian plaster, there's no finish on that. You could put wax on it if you want, but the problem with wax is somebody comes along and they want to
So
paint it.
what gives it that sheen? Is it in the plaster that you apply? Is it, is that
There is no sheen. So the reason that it's shiny is because you burnish it with the trowel. So the more you rub that trowel, the metal on that surface, the shinier it gets. So once it's done and it's almost dry, you go around and just like burnish that surface. And
it
that's what you
doesn't
get the
groove,
sheen.
it doesn't put grooves? Well, it's very subtle, I guess.
It's so soft and yeah, and the trowel is very fine steel.
Is
It's
it,
very sturdy.
is there the edges softened so you don't
Yes,
dig?
all the edges are rounded. Yes. This is a customer who was looking to do a grass cloth wallpaper in a narrow hallway,
That'd be nice.
but it was just like we closed the whole thing, so we created this finish. It's almost like a grass cloth with glaze
And it doesn't have.
So you do all these oil-based glazes there?
These are all water-based. I'm not,
Oh,
the
water-based.
only oil-based product we use is fine paints of Europe, Holland. Other than that, this is a paint
This
from
is so
Holland.
nice.
That's the only oil-based
I
paint we
guess
use.
this is when they do.
It's hard to do these kind of things with water, it dries very quickly, right?
Yeah, so you use extenders.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I worked with a guy who did
Probably a steel one.
Yes.
oil-based finishes.
But then, yeah.
And the good thing about that is if you make a mistake, kerosene, and you remove the whole wall before.
And you start it again. No, with water-based,
You can
it's
survive
not
the fumes.
as forgiving.
So I have a question. So when he's troweling like this, right?
Mhm.
Does that some parts start drying as he's doing it, or does it just?
It's okay if it dries.
That's what I'm saying. Is that how you get this look?
The look is because of multiple layers, because you're putting a layer,
Right.
but you're not completely covering up the surface.
Okay.
You skip some spots, and then the second layer. So some places get 2 layers, some places are 3 layers,
Oh,
some
okay.
places are 4 layers.
You get different amount of pigment. So
We were just talking. This would make a nice canopy.
I don't think it's a good idea. We did a cool project for Lionsgate. They had their sign, and Bianca at the time was the manager at the Sherwin Williams store with our rep Tommy. They helped us come up with the right products, the primers and paints for aluminum. This is aluminum that we had to fill and clean, and it was, believe it or not, over like 170, 180 hours to paint a bunch of letters.
Wow.
It was crazy, but it was a good project to be involved. This is a piece of steel in Caramore, if you're ever up there. You can see this, we've done this with metallic paint. We could do metallic paint on radiators. Exterior painting, one of the biggest issues with exterior painting is mildew, especially black mildew. Green mildew is easy to clean because it's on the surface. Black mildew usually is an indication that some oil paint or oil primers were used under the layers of paint, and because oil paints have organic materials such as linseed oil, mildew feeds off of this, and it just like regrows. You keep washing the surface and the black comes through after a year or 2. In this particular situation, after we had washed the house with cleaning solutions, we let it completely dry. We did use a mildew sealer to block all the mildew. It gives you a clean surface, and then now you can paint it and not worry about that mildew coming through again. This is another beautiful garage doors that they replaced. Lead paint, we deal with lead paint. We are lead certified to properly clean, remove, and dispose lead paint. This is a factory finish on the left side, factory finish shingles that was installed on a house that was built like 15 years ago. But people think like factory finish paints like just forever, you could just let it go because
Nothing is forever.
nothing is gonna happen to it. But you know, if you don't really take care of it, it's just gonna start curling up all the shingles. And most factory finish products, like you just remember, like they're running these shingles through the machine. They get a very thin layer of whatever cheapest paint they can get their hands on, and they fast dry them with like heat. So it's really not a proper coating. I would suggest if there is some sort of a pre-finished shingles or wood that you install, you want to kind of look at it in 4 years, 5 years, and see if it needs some sort of a coating. We've had really great, since you like staying around, we love this product. It's isn't it beautiful? So again, it's not oil stain, it's water based. It's this product from Canada called Sanson. Sanson stain. Before we found Sanson, up until 3 years ago, we tried many different waterborne stains for transparent stains on mahogany, ipe, cedar, but none of them really held up. And not only they didn't hold up, but also it was really hard to maintain. Whereas once we found out about Sanson, it penetrates way better than oil does. Everybody thinks that oil penetrates so much better than water-based, but whatever it is, the technology is like really catching up, and they have created a product that can penetrate so deeply into the wood, even to hardwood such as mahogany. And another advantage of these water-based products or stain is that mildew doesn't grow on it, the color stays true. So on those decks, instead of removing every year and restaining, all we do is just washing it and apply another coat. And it's always going to stay that color.
Is
Right.
it Sanson, S-A-N-S-O-N?
S-R-A-N.
Right there.
It's right on the screen.
S-A-N-S-I-N.
Oh, right, sorry.
That's
Pay attention, please.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
So, good I didn't become a teacher, right?
One question, you're very happy with that new technology and those new stains. Do they work on the siding of houses,
Yes.
not just the decks?
Yes, but they go on bare wood. So
if it
they
doesn't-
have solid paints too. But with solid, we don't have that much problem. With solid, we can use Sherwin-Williams or Benjamin Moore paint, and it's fine.
The Sanson, do they have a clear?
They do. They have a bunch of different clears. They even have
I've
white.
used water-based, but on the live edge,
Yeah.
if it's a porous, like an oak, it actually raises the fibers back up with water-based, so.
It
But
doesn't.
I like water-based.
It does not raise the grains as much as any
I
other
got it written
water.
down, so.
Yeah, please use it. Usually, yes, when you use a water-based stain
On
on
a-
wood, it
on a-
raises the
On a
grain,
water,
but not as much.
If you, the way you were saying is the paint was UV, you were gonna get that.
Mhm.
If you're using clear, are you gonna get the, the light hitting the wood changes the color of the wood, or does it?
Again, it's the product
Okay.
that is UV resistant because it's water-based, right?
Okay.
This is a nice house we did in New Canaan with Sanson products.
Beautiful.
Look at this.
That's the
Beautiful.
same wood, wow.
That's the same wood.
That is amazing.
You see?
That is wow.
So you did that after,
Amazing.
I mean, they had obviously stained it
You
previously.
just paint the
so
stain
how
on
do
it,
you-
look what it does.
Yes, but this is the oil stain. Like this is oil
That's it.
stain,
1,
and
2, 3.
obviously UV breaks it down, but mildew has grown on it.
So how did you prep to put the new?
We use a chemical remover to remove whatever of that stain was left on it, and then sanded it completely to bare wood
Oh, okay.
before we could put that Sanson.
Came out gorgeous.
That's the real work.
That is really beautiful.
See,
Nice
the wood,
job.
beautiful.
This
It is. I agree with you.
This is a house up in Monterey built by a local architect, and when he built it, he used oil products on it. And eventually some new owners bought that house, and we went in, we removed everything. This is actually the siding also, is Sanson. You can see from the right side, this is.
You change it from square to round?
No.
He paints. He really do architectural work.
Yeah, we went to a water-based product, and it's just gorgeous year after year. This is, I wish I had a picture of this when it was all black with mildew. This is after we have power washed it and cleaned the wood, so. And then on the right side is after we finished it. Same thing here. This is a project we worked on with Denise.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a great project. Again, I wish I had a picture of this house when it was completely black with mildew. This is after we have removed all the stain and sanded it, and here is the finished product.
Nice.
Like the wood, this wood was really, really dark, black with mildew and UV burning the wood. So by the time we were done removing it, sanding it, it was almost like brand new wood. This is a log house in Austin that we removed it completely before we could stain it. Okay, talking about color, this is a house on Maple Avenue in Cortland, and I think we did this color on it. So. Decks, another great option for decks, Sanson. But as I said, everything has to be completely removed and sand it to bare wood before you can start with that. We do some wallpaper. That's a Harry Potter themed wallpaper. Garage floors, we do garage floors too. So
What's the price for a garage, for a two-car garage? For the regular boxy with the little pebbles on?
there are a couple of different products you could use. You could do it for $3,000 or you could do it for $6,000, right? But when you do garage floors, you need to scarify the floor. You need to remove a layer of the concrete from the top to get to really solid concrete before you could put your epoxy. This is the only cabinet we had a request to do high gloss. We did an 80% sheen, but we could also do 95%. Now these products come in 95% sheen, which is very, very close to this piece of trim I showed you. Here are some Sanson products if you want to look at them, pass them around. On mahogany, you can see there.
I guess the stain doesn't keep it from warping, huh?
This thing? Oh no, that's, see, that was already a whole piece. No.
Yeah.
This is another picture of that ceiling.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
This is
there's one.
side by side. You can see the blue right now, right? Yeah?
So what color is
Look
this?
at that.
It's blue. It's blue.
Is it the blue like
I love that.
It's a really dark blue. It's really dark blue. It's this green that is affecting it. I wish I had a sample board of that.
It looks like it's like the border on the picture.
Right. Almost.
That is a red door.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is this high gloss. This is my team. We had a lot of turnaround. The only person that has been here with us for 11 years is Sergio. Where is he? This guy. Sergio has been with us for 11 years, but the rest of the team is all under 4 years with us. We hired, after dealing with so many skilled painters that had their ways and we couldn't really train them or change their bad habits, we started hiring people with no experience. And our focus was always to hire people that share our core values of honesty, respect, and knowledge. And these are our core values of our company that we communicate to our employees. And once we had that, and we could hire based on those core values rather than skills, then we were able to teach these people how to paint. And the result is just mind-boggling. Like what we do with this team,
That is awesome.
Are you photoshopped into that picture?
yes.
Let me tell you. That touche to you. That's a great way to do it.
I'm impressed.
Oh, yeah.
Funny.
That's good.
I thought it was really good.
Very good. That's awesome.
That was good though. So yeah, so when we deal with our employees or customers, we're hoping that our customers also share our core values. There are times that, you know, you have to deal with somebody who doesn't share our core values, and that's when you walk away, regardless of how profitable that project could be. So,
That's true.
so this is our team. If you guys have any other questions,
That was
thank
awesome.
you.
That's very good.
Where's the picture of your award-winning house?
Award, I don't have it here. So the award-winning house, it was a restoration project of 1880. If you want, it's I can email you some pictures of it. It was an 1880 house in Tarrytown that it was so massive that we decided, just for budgetary issue, to focus on one side, the front of the house. And we were going to replace some rotted trim, replace the shingles. There was a mismatch, some clapboard, some shingles, and get everything uniform, reglaze the windows. But by the time we started ripping the trim around those massive 20-foot columns in front of it, we found out that only one column was holding a third floor.
Oh,
We had to
really?
jack up the house and replace the columns and then the sill plates, and we literally, it turned into a
Building a house.
1,100 hours project. And that's the one we submitted to National PCA, the Painting Association, and that's the one we won the award for.
Thankfully, you were working on time and materials, right?
It was, at some point it became a time and material, but again, we worked with the customers, and then just last summer, we did another side of the house, and this summer, we're gonna do another side.
Nice.
Good for you.
It's gonna be, so, yeah.
That sounds fabulous.
That was great.
All right, one last thing I'm gonna share with you. When we fill rotted wood on windowsills and stuff, we use an epoxy. And just to show you how hard epoxy can be, this is a two-part epoxy that we fill holes and dents and wood rot, and it can be sanded and primed and painted. But this is a little leftover, see how hard it is.
What's it called?
Next generation epoxy system. Yeah. Thank you. All right, I talked too much.
That was excellent.
Awesome.
Very, very, what are you coming to?
Iranian.
Iranian?
Iranian.
Persian.
Anybody have any questions before Ray, puts his stuff? No? Think we got them all answered? Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job, Ray.
Now we know where to go if we need cabinets refinished or exterior, or, I mean, I'm dying to do one of those high gloss ceilings. That's in a room,
Yeah, that
so.
sounds great.
Anybody want to?
I mean, I'll just like toot his horn a little, because I am a client of Ray's. And
Right,
he does
Andy?
exceptional work.
Yeah,
There we go.
Thank you
fantastic.
so much.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And we got so many more treats, so stay and enjoy. And
everything's
Awesome.
delicious.
I just want to say, I don't paint, but I know I can get a job there.
I hope everybody enjoyed this. Wasn't that cool? Oh my God. I just can't wait to do some more projects with Ray. And thanks again for joining us. And we'll be posting this at another time. So you know when we'll be back. Third Thursday of the month on March 21st. And we have a professional organizer. That's something that I know I need, so hopefully you will too. Bye, guys.